once again, we are back on Boond Soch ki ttalk train of thoughts. I think there is a series of an episode what we are having with Mr. Virendra Gupte, who is a consultant, corporate trainer, and the company director, and also an ex-head of trade services and chief ethics counselor with Tata International Limited for 37 years. I think it's a great marathon of 37 years. It's a great learning and insights what exclusively our ttalk audience they are getting from it. So it's a great experience and the exposure. We have seen the learning what you have drawn while starting off in career. Can you throw some more light about your learning by being within Tata Group as a whole?
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, I would say that the Tata Group and the company in which I spent my entire lifetime is like I've been an open university.
Yeah.
And the best part of the whole induction and my early part of my career has been that, of course, there has been hand-holding by seniors, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, I would also say that there was no easy spoon-feeding as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that means you have to learn yourself. So basically, you're given a task and a assignment, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn, right? You ask questions. You may stumble. You may grope around. But then you need to sort of do that exercise yourself. So there's no ready reckoner available in that sense.
Correct.
And I think that's been a very significant aspect of shaping your career in the company. That seniors are there obviously to help you, etc. But then it is not a cakewalk, in the sense it's not a journey which is like a bed of roses. You need to learn by as you grow, and therefore you in a way mature and sort of blossom in your job or your task over a period of time. And that precisely that happened to me. From the induction, then assuming some responsibilities initially relating to, let's say, board and governance related aspects. And then over a period of time, I got some independent responsibilities looking at regulatory affairs. So that became some of those key pillars for me. Looking at, now when you are in international trade, from the Indian perspective, you are interacting with some regulators. And the key regulator is the Reserve Bank of India, because they administered the earlier FERA, which got transited to FEMA.
Correct.
Or matters relating to risk insurance, relating to lines of credits, relating to matters of customs or Director General of Foreign Trade, DGFT. So there are those, the foreign trade policy of the country, which is, authored by the Ministry of Commerce. So therefore, those are some of the key players or the stakeholders, the regulators, the government, which matter to you in terms of your day-to-day operations.
Correct.
Now, for me, the transition has been from rigidity to flexibility.
Correct.
So, when you take the example of Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, which got amended to later on to Foreign Exchange Management Act, the change of the the word, the nomenclature from regulation to management itself has been a sea change.
Correct.
And from that point of view, the tough days of getting approvals for small little trivial things. So I recall, half of my day for years together used to be in the Reserve Bank office to get some approvals for release of foreign exchange for export promotion visits, or opening a branch office or a trading office, etc. And today, of course, the world has changed.
Correct.
And therefore, today it is more about empowerment, delegation of powers to the banks, authorized dealers, etc. And to that extent, regulators are now, in a way, hands off. Okay. So, handling those tasks were quite sensitive, because once the compliance part, and as a Tata company, we are very, very particular about our compliance processes. You don't err. You're procedurally you need to be correct, and more importantly, the ethos of the group, the value systems of the group, to be honest. Integrity and trust matters. So, unlike maybe other businesses, etc., who may, sort of camouflage data, numbers, whatever.
Some shortcuts.
Adopt to certain shortcuts and so on. I was more, groomed from a younger age when I was assuming these responsibilities, that be honest and truthful.
Yeah.
Even if your paperwork is not very pakka, you confess and upfront tell the authorities that, look, I am out of your 10 requirements, I am able to fulfill 7. 8th and 9th is work in progress. 10th I am unable to generate.
Correct. So more transparent.
So be transparent in whatever you do. And I can tell you, sir, that that has been a great revelation for me, because that level of honesty, that candidness, even the toughest of the toughest regulator, he appreciates that level of honesty and transparency.
Yeah. Correct.
And I think that is how the world looks at the Tata Group, in that sense, that we tend to, of course, I won't be on a high moral platform here. It's not that we don't err or don't make mistakes. We do. But it's not consciously done.
Correct.
And therefore, for me, the greatest learning in terms of the regulatory affairs within the country, and also while looking at regulatory compliances, when was also responsible to be part of my group for setting up companies abroad, subsidiary companies and so on. The local regulations are distinct to each country, the language barriers, the regulatory environment, etc. So when you look at the entire, the roadmap or the footprint, the easiest way which overwhelms you is when you set up a company or a business operation in Singapore, where the approvals don't take days, they take hours.
Correct.
And then in other geographies, you have the same issues of bureaucracy, language, the hierarchies, etc. and so on. But you need perseverance, you need patience.
Correct.
You need to be very, very clear about your compliances, the paperwork procedures and so on. So I was in a way blessed in terms of getting those responsibilities on the one hand. The other area which I was in the early part of my career was involved just before the liberalization process. We had also the whole process of industrial licensing. And therefore, when the leather complex was set up in Devas, it was subjected to industrial licensing by the Ministry of Commerce and Government of India. And the government was also very particular about large, big business houses getting into some areas, whether it will create monopolies, dominant market positions, and so on and so forth. So, of course, that was an archaic era in that sense. Today, we don't talk about these things. Right? It has become much more hands-on. Government is also business friendly, and so on. So, I had to also be part of that visits to Delhi to meet the government officials to, when the applications were made for
process.
So, when we were into expansion of our manufacturing operations from finished leather to the top part of the shoe called the shoe upper, setting up a shoe upper unit or the full footwear, full shoe unit, or leather jackets, leather garments businesses, and so on and so forth. So that again was a very different type of an experience, exposure in terms of compliances. And multiple agencies were involved. The Reserve Bank of India, Ministry of Industry, the Trade and Commerce, Ministry of Company Affairs, and so on and so forth. So that was a part of your that procedural compliance part.
Correct. But again, sir, here again, maybe that's the reason we are saying at every phase of your life you need to be a learner, like.
Absolutely.
And maybe like since you did your law at the initial stage, was more handy in.
Correct. So that is, in fact,
addressing all these compliances.
So that is something which has really helped me because that gives you that perspective.
Correct.
Of course, you have experts within your company. You've got your legal head, legal department. You've got external advisors, attorneys, etc., which help you and do the. They help you to navigate the course. But your basic understanding helps you in terms of clarity, in terms of that you're on the same page with your consultants. You're on the same wavelength in understanding and comprehending. So that part of the learning helps you later at an appropriate time, surely in your career. So in fact, the message I would like to convey here is that any learning is useful. Nobody should think that I am doing something which is doesn't have relevance right now. You don't know when it will be relevant later.
Correct.
Like for example, I tell students many a times that how many of you know a foreign language, and it helps, and it's an asset to learn a foreign language, especially when you're in the international business environment. Apart from English, many parts of the world don't speak English at all, and they are very aggressive in international trade. And therefore, knowing the language is a great asset.
Correct.
So from that perspective, surely it helps. And over a period of time, when you are exposed to these type of multiple assignments, you learn. And the other important lesson to learn is that one glove doesn't fit all sizes. Every case, every assignment is in a way de novo in that sense. So what helps you therefore is if you have done something flawlessly, so in a way it is like a success. So why have you succeeded? What were the steps you took to ensure? Number one. And the most important learning in life is that you don't do anything alone. It's all about teamwork.
Which is
right in the organization, within the company, teamwork with your fellow colleagues, there are other departments, supporting departments. outside your organizations in the same ecosystem of your business, your stakeholders.
Correct.
So therefore, it is a collaborative effort at the end of the day.
Good.
And therefore, if you think that you have done well, I think that credit and that limelight has to be shared equally by people who are also not necessarily at the forefront, but also those who are behind the curtains.
Behind the curtain.
And therefore, they help you, they support you with facts, data, etc. They have their own domain knowledge or expertise, which they pitch in at the appropriate time to ensure that that the big picture emerges. And then you are the spokesperson on behalf of your organization. So therefore, it is not your credit all the time. Surely not your credit. It is a facilitation. It's like being part of an orchestra in that sense.
I see. I think you need to understand the entire ecosystem which is there. Basically, corporate is and teamwork. Like I'm sure, like it's more collaborative efforts which are there, and each and every person have got a contribution towards the success of an organization and achieving those kind of a number. It's a great learning, like how Mr. Virendra S. Gupte, like he went in terms of those kind of a learning and making the base more stronger in the understanding about the compliances at different place in the organization at different time and such. And I think if the ttalk audience and the professionals or the MBA students who are watching and listening to Mr. Virendra, I think it's a great insights to what is there for the target audience. Do catch up with Mr. Virendra S. Gupte in our next episode of ttalk. Boond Soch. Till then, go to www.ttalk.net. Subscribe and like the channel as much as you can. So thanks a lot for value addition. Thank you very much. God bless you.